Once again, no new cases of COVID-19 reported in Muskoka. Doug Ford pushes back against insinuation emergency measures could be relaxed by Victoria Day. And your favorite cookies aren't being delivered, but they're still available in store. All that and more coming up right now. Welcome to Cogeco News for April 22nd. I'm James Bowler with what's happening in your community. Well, Muskoka largely seems to be avoiding most of the increase in infections around the Simcoe Muskoka District Health Unit, as for a second day in a row, there are no new COVID-19 confirmed cases to report. However, Dr. Charles Gardner is still heavily suggesting people keep their physical distancing and self-isolating habits going to avoid a sudden outbreak. Dr. Gardner says we are in the period now where signs of an Easter weekend spread could start to show, as the virus takes about 2 weeks to show symptoms. So it's vital to stay inside when possible and keep out of contact with other people. Now, meanwhile, could we be seeing a breakout of Ontarians celebrating in bars, restaurants, and parks across the province come the May-long weekend? Despite comments earlier today that may suggest Doug Ford was aiming for the Victoria Day weekend to start opening up Ontario's economy again, the Premier is now pushing back against insinuation that that is the case. During his media briefing today, the Premier argued with reporters that he had never made that statement.
Sorry, but I said everything is conditional on the health and well-being of Ontario, conditional on getting the Chief Medical Officer of Health. What I was saying is, can we start opening up a trickle of the economy? I got to be very, very clear. There's never going to be one date that we just open up the economy. We're going to open it up with a trickle and just let it flow from there and constantly measure. But by no means are we going to have, for instance, the May 24th weekend, we're just going to open things up. That is absolutely not going to happen.
You said to Bill Carroll this morning that we could be looking at opening up by the May 24 weekend, and then you said at the beginning of this news conference, no, we couldn't. So, we're getting a lot of confusing messages from the public and wondering what's going on.
So, Brian, I listened to the tape, and if you listen to it, I always put the condition based on the Chief Medical Officer of Health. And if we see the curve go down, and keep in mind, we're talking a month down the road, that I don't have a crystal ball, and neither does anyone else. If we keep seeing the curve flatten and start heading southward, yeah, we can start opening up a little bit at a time. But I can't predict a month down the road. I'm hoping it continues going the way it's going, and when it starts heading south, yes, we will start opening up the economy very, very slowly.
So for now, plan to stay home and stay isolated, because while Ontario could be hitting a peak, the province's health officials have said there will be no consideration to relax emergency measures again until we start moving down to 200 infections or less per day. Meanwhile, Justin Trudeau had some good news today for students.
Today, I'm announcing our plan to support students right across the country. We're launching the Canada Emergency Student Benefit to provide immediate help. At the same time, we will create new student jobs and double student grants, among other things. All of these measures will add up to approximately $9 billion for students. With this benefit, you'll get $1,250 a month from May to August. And if you take care of someone else or have a disability, that amount will go up to $1,750 each month. This benefit is designed for you. If you're a post-secondary student right now, if you're going to college in September, or if you graduated in December 2019. It's there for you even if you have a job, but you're only making up to $1,000 a month. The period covered by the benefit will start on May 1st, and your payments will be delivered through the Canada Revenue Agency.
And we are taking our first break, but when we come back, a bit of a break from COVID as we look at the ongoing construction on King William. Stay with us. Welcome back. Joining me from his home office is Mark Misko with the District of Muskoka. Mark, thanks very much again for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
So we are going to be talking again about the King William updates. I think everyone has noticed now that work has proceeded once again along that stretch of road, and a bit of some detour happening as well. So can you kind of give me an update of where we're at now, Mark, and where we're going to be headed in the next couple of months?
Sure. So yeah, obviously, as everyone can see, the work's progressed underway. Happy to have it started up again. We've got all the right safety and security measures in place. There's some localized closures on the road right now, just to allow them to operate within the construction zone, essentially. We're really seeing reduction in the amount of traffic going through the area. So kind of these localized closures make sense. The, I guess, forecast for the next couple months is to continue with storm and sanitary installation up the roadway towards Scott Street, the ultimate destination on the job. So they're going to carry ahead with some of the sewer works, some of the stormwater works, and then they'll follow through with the road works on top of that. So you'll see the road in gravel conditions for the foreseeable future, kind of segmented one area at a time. So the section they're in now up to Can Street is the one area that they're going to be focusing on in the immediate future.
Now, I noticed that, again, as mentioning the detours, there seems to be quite a lot of closures this time compared to last time. Are we going to be, especially on I think it's Center Street there, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of that lasting for a while here?
Well, it's to be honest, it's tough to tell exactly when those closures will be lifted, but we are using a staged approach to these closures. So we still have that phasing that was originally part of the contracts. You're seeing between Ferry and Can Street at this point. So we'd be opening those up as the job progressed forward and as they become available for full traffic operations. So there are some localized shutdowns now. Part of that is to try and accelerate the schedule on this job. Another part is that they've really been challenged to find another laydown area that's sufficiently close to the job. So they are storing some material within the job site, and that's necessitating the need for some of the operational or traffic constraints you're seeing.
So we had discussed this a couple of weeks ago and the possibility of this maybe being pushed ahead because of the list of essential and non-essential construction work by the Ford government. Looks like obviously it's listed as essential, and it seems like it's actually gone right on schedule, dead on. Is that right?
You're talking as far as the startup is concerned?
Yes.
Yeah, we'd messaged in the winter last year, or I guess earlier this year, that we'd like to start as early as possible. We're ahead. There's still half load restrictions on the roadways. This road is exempt outside of those restrictions anyway, so we can start as early as possible. We're fortunate in that we didn't have a recurrence last year of the high water levels that we saw come through the entire district. So we were able to start a bit earlier, and the weather's been, I would say, kinder than most years coming out of winter to us. So we were able to start optimistically as early as we wanted to on this one. And, we got the construction mobilized out there as fast as we could. It is a bit slower, to be honest, with respect to the delays we're seeing with the pandemic that we're under. So work did progress a little slower than ideally we wanted to, but we're up and running now. So we're confident that we can forge ahead.
So speaking of that being slower, Mark, I know the projected time frame was to hope to have this done by the end of this year. Is that still something we're looking at?
We're meeting with the contractor on a weekly basis at this point to try and get a really good handle on what their timelines and schedule look like. It is construction, so it's tough to say exactly what the future holds. There's no magic crystal ball that we can give a firm end date on this, but we're looking at as many options as we can to accelerate the schedule. One of those being you'll see them working out there this Saturday. So we're starting to extend some of the working hours. And then the Saturdays moving forward, there's also some potential to work there. So we're going to take that on a week-to-week basis to try and maintain the schedule as much as possible. We'll just go from there. And, we're always looking at different construction methods and options to see if we can accelerate the work. If we can, we'd love to.
And Mark, I don't know if you can answer this, but it may be based on what the contractor has in place, but are there guidelines in place to make sure that the workers are protected during this COVID-19 time?
Absolutely. Safety of the public and workers for us is always priority number one. We worked closely with the contractor JB to make sure that they had a plan in place for the COVID or the pandemic restrictions that are in place. So they've got their SOPs or their procedures and protocols in place for maintaining spacing, sanitization of the workplace, those types of things. So we're fortunate to some extent being in the civil construction works in that a lot of our work is dependent on operators and machinery. So we do have some spacing in place just from the nature of the work we do. It's not like we have 50 laborers running around a commercial or industrial building trying to build it out. So it does tend towards the spacing requirement already, but we've been working with the contractor on making sure that they have a solid plan in place to address any of the safety concerns during this pandemic.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. I won't take any more time up. I noticed your supervisor in the background there checking in on you, so it seems like you have to get back to work.
Yeah, he really makes sure that I stay on time for everything throughout the day.
All right, well, thanks again for taking the time, Mark. We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Well, following a conversation with the Simcoe-Muskoka Catholic District School Board earlier today, I had an opportunity to speak with the Trillium-Lakelands District School Board Director of Education, Larry Hope, about the usage of electronics following an announcement the province would be providing iPads to boards with Rogers wireless connectivity until the end of June.
We are awaiting further direction or information, I guess I should say, from the Ministry of Education about availability of those iPads. For the time being, we're focused on getting whatever we have out there deployed into homes where it's required. We are in a very good position overall with what we would consider to be one-to-one, where we have many devices in our schools, and that could be everything from personal laptops to iPads to other tablets, and so we're in very good shape in terms of what we might be able to deploy. I don't think we would have a huge reliance or need to rely heavily on additional technology being brought in. The other piece of that is obviously of interest to us is around the internet sticks that they're talking about, for the very reason you described a moment ago, and that is we know that there may be some areas where folks have spotty internet at best. These might be a solution. They may not be in all instances, but in some they might be. So we'll be asking our principals to learn more from families about what they need and what we might be able to access through the government program. Early on, we started surveying parents to find out what kind of technology they may have in the home, what kind of internet they may have access to within their home or elsewhere, because we heard early on that some folks were looking at other options, like these Fire Sticks and other kinds of things like that. And so what we learned fairly early on is that actually our families are very, very well equipped overall. We have roughly 17,000 students that we service in TLTSB, and so far we've distributed about 7,000 devices into homes. So when you think about that in terms of the balance, you know, we've heard many people say, well, we have technology at home, but it would be really helpful because I'm working from home if my child had their own technology to use. And so we're trying to accommodate that as well. We've also got about 500 special education assistive devices out there or in the process of being distributed out there. So I think we've made some really good inroads into getting the materials and things into the hands of families who need them.
And of course, we heard yesterday that the Simcoe Muskoka Catholic District School Board was distributing Rogers wireless phones for families that were in a poor or no internet connectivity situation. Now we are back to the break, but those with a sweet tooth should stick around for something special after this. Welcome back. Well, if you feel like you're missing out on Girl Guide cookies, have no fear. They are still available and we'll still be providing these vital programs for young kids. Keep running.
Right now we're in the middle of our spring cookie campaign, which is our annual fundraising. We usually do it twice a year. We do chocolate and vanilla cookies in the spring and then the chocolatey mint ones in the fall. Unfortunately, due to the situation out there in the world right now, we are unable to do our door-to-door sales, our community events. We used to go in front of the storefronts and just greet customers as they came into the grocery stores and ask if they'd like to support us by buying a box of cookies. Well, unfortunately, we can't do that right now. So we've kind of had to change the way we do things. Already, Girl Guides of Canada has canceled our fall mint campaign just with the uncertainty out there. So our main focus is to get as many of our chocolate and vanilla ones that we already had shipped to us sold, as this will be our only fundraising this year. So now what we've done is had actually a bunch of different community members come forward offering to help. Our biggest one being Home Hardware here in Gravenhurst, as they have approached us and asked if they could help by making our cookies available in their store.
We reached out to Kyla when we knew that she was having trouble moving some of the cookies, and we realized that the Girl Guide cookies is such a strong campaign in the community, and it raises quite a bit of money, and for them to not be able to get out and go door to door was going to be really hard for them. So we reached out and purchased 20 or so cases from her, and we're offering them for sale, or if customers spend $50 or more in the store, we're giving them a free box of cookies.
I've been in the program for 14 years now, and I've sold cookies every spring and fall for that long. It's a great campaign. It gets lots of skills going for young girls. So there's single boxes, or sometimes when you get really lucky, people will buy a whole case, and then you don't have to work as hard to sell them all.
And what do you love about Girl Guides?
Camping.
You love camping. Why do you love camping? What do you get to do in camping?
Campfire?
Girl Guides teaches you to really accept other girls and other people, and be kind to one another, and really just makes a sense of community wherever you are.
We've also had the post office in Kilworthy come forward and offer to sell cookies there as a spot that's still open to the public. So people that are south of town, maybe not coming in to town to get their cookies, they can go there. Of course, you can contact me directly through our Facebook page, which is Graveners Grow Guide Units, and we can make arrangements for safe delivery. We're taking e-transfers now, so if you'd like to buy a box or case and support us, we will bring the cookies to you. And then on another thing that's kind of spun out of that is people are contacting us, buying cases of cookies, and then showing their support in the community by donating those cookies back to places like the food bank or Graveners Against Poverty, so they can be distributed to people who probably won't buy a box of cookies of their own. It's a nice little treat. Or showing their appreciation to our frontline workers and essential staff. So we've had people buy cookies and donate them to the paramedics or the OPP or the staff at the nursing homes. So it's big thank you to everybody in our community, because it's really been inspiring to see everybody come together during these troubling times.
Well, we're taking our last break, but those of you who've been watching our show for a while will be welcomed by the return of a familiar face when we come back.
Entertainment seekers, and welcome back to a special quarantine edition of Muskoka on Stage. The theaters may be closed and you may be stuck at home, but that doesn't mean there's any shortage of local entertainment. Get your filling of folk from the comfort of your home with the Young Novelists. This Toronto duo will be performing for Muskoka's entertainment fans through Zoom on May 3rd, and you can find more details by going to Huntsville Festival of the Arts Facebook page. And if you're looking for a more local vibe with a fundraising feel, why not either watch or take part in the Black Hole? Huntsville Festival of the Arts is calling artists who went to Huntsville High School between 1990 and 2000 to perform in this retro 90s feel event. And proceeds will be going to local charities. If you're interested in dusting off the musical equipment, reach out to Dan Watson and put your name in. But hurry, applications close this Friday. And get your tickets now for a very special virtual concert from Twin Flames. Twin Flames pushes the boundaries of contemporary folk with indigenous Inuit influenced songs that incorporate both Western and traditional instruments. Tickets are on sale now for this May 10th concert through Huntsville Festival of the Arts, which gets you access to the private Zoom presentation. If you're still not sure about this amazing duo, here's a bit of what you can expect during the virtual show. That's it for this week, but make sure to tune in again next week for some more awesome virtual shows.
And thanks to Briar for taking the time to give us something fun to end the show with. And on that note, I do want to take a moment to recognize all our volunteers during this National Volunteer Week. We may not have seen you in a while, but we'll be looking forward to welcoming you back when this passes. That's Cogeco News. For more information on the program, head over to yourtv.tv or connect with us on social media. Remember to catch us live at 5 Monday to Thursday. And don't forget, today is Takeout Wednesday, so show some love to our local restaurants in Muskoka. Get yourself something tasty for dinner tonight. From everyone here at Cogeco News, thanks for watching.